Hey, what's going on, Inspirators? It's your boy, Tony D, TonyDoyleInspires.com. Thanks for popping in the Inspirate channel again today. Truly appreciate you guys. Listen, today I have a little conversation that I wanted to have with you guys. And it's about a super important topic. It's a topic that is holding us all back and honestly is the only enemy that you truly have on this planet, on this 3D earth. The only thing that is keeping you from manifesting all of your dreams. And we're going to talk about it today, and it could be summed up in 4 words: false evidence appearing real. That's right, we're talking about fear. We're talking about how it's holding you back and ways to overcome it today on the Inspirate channel. So if you have not already, please hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell symbol. That's the notification symbol. Works with the algorithm here on YouTube and allows other like-minded folks who may want to see the video but can't currently see it, may invite them to check it out. Also, if you like this, always helps to give a thumbs up. And if you love it and you know someone this is specifically for who needs to hear this message, please send it out directly to them or post on your individual pages, timelines, groups, all over your social media. Always appreciate you guys sharing. So let's get right into it. Do not want to keep you long today, but this is so important. This comes right out of actually a couple things. It's been going on. If you've seen any of my Soul Food Sunday lives, have an ongoing segment there. Also, a couple coaching things, and honestly, like, it's coming up so much because when you boil things down and you're really addressing root causes of things, this is where we're at. Okay. Fear is the one thing that is stopping you from fulfilling your destiny, right? Manifesting your dreams and satisfying your purpose on the earth. Okay, it's fear. Okay, so we have to figure out how to get past that. How do we get past our fears? Well, first and foremost, and we're going to talk about a lot of it obviously is about awareness, as all things are. We need to realize that we do have some fear around different things, and I'm going to give you some ways to both recognize that and address some specifics. But let's talk about fear in general. Webster's defines fear as a chain reaction in the brain that starts with a stressful stimuli, which causes a release of powerful chemicals in the body. Okay. This can cause all kind of different things. You guys know hard and fast breathing. We're talking raised heart levels. We're talking energized muscles. We're talking hyper acute awareness of specifically danger. So basically, we're talking stress, right? This is called the body's fight or flight response. And it's an important thing to have, and it's an important thing to appreciate for what it is, as all things are. When we need it, we're glad it's there. But what happens is we're triggering this and we're living in it way, way too often. It's causing lots of disease in our body, and it's causing us to block our manifestations. All right, and this is how, and we're going to get into specifics of that today. If that makes sense, comment down below if you have a fear, whether it's founded or unfounded in your mind right now. If you have a fear that is blocking you from being your best self, comment that down below and let me know. All right, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But let me know, because like I said, awareness is key. So identify a fear that's blocking you from being something that you could be, something that you want, something that you know deep down inside that would make you fulfill, your destiny, your promise to yourself, your purpose on the earth, your mission. What are those fears? And we're going to talk about a little about that. So here's the thing. We need to either completely eliminate fear, which is super difficult to do, or we need to manage it enough to be able to take action despite our fear. Okay? So, and we can certainly do that. And I'm going to give you some techniques to do that. There are definitely techniques to eliminating fear in your life as well. But as you guys know, some of those are super deep rooted. And in fact, if you go back all of your limiting beliefs, which fear is definitely one. In fact, all fears and phobias are based on limiting beliefs, right? So think about it. There's not one there's not a fear or a phobia that's a positive belief, right? It may keep you alive, but it's based on a fear, a scarcity, a lack, possibly of breath, of blood, you know what I mean? So, of life itself in some cases. And sometimes not even that perilous, We're living in this fight or flight response all the time over silly little things like what somebody thinks of us, if we forgot to brush our teeth today, we didn't do our hair, does my makeup look just right? Silly things like that, honestly, are blocking us from our dreams, and you guys know it. You know it happens. To the best of our ability, we try not to. But let me give you a couple more techniques and things that we can do to combat that, to address it. Okay, because we don't want to really combat it, because all we want to do is give it some awareness. I'm going to talk about here in just a little bit, but just remember that the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear, right? So it's a thin line between love and hate, right? Because to hate something, you have to have loved it. But fear breeds apathy, okay? And so this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. You guys who know me know I was introduced to Master Lao Tzu from a different master, a Jedi master named Yoda. And one of my favorite quotes from Yoda is this: fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. And hate leads to suffering. Always. Always, 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 always. All right? So, just to reinforce what fear is doing in our body, and I know if you guys listen to that, you feel the truth of that, right? You understand that. It really, truly is the path to a darker existence. A lot of folks, and maybe you are one, are living in that because the momentum has led you down that path, and now you're stuck around depression majority of the time. You're trying to get out, and honestly, it's fear. It's some fear thing. So let's talk about how we can address that. Okay, so if the opposite of love is fear, so the only way to honestly address fear is through love, right? So the opposite. So if we want, as with all things, and of course we do believe about the law of attraction right here. So let's apply what we know of the law of attraction. Like energy attracts like energy. What I would like to say, I say the law of attraction is simple, but it's not always easy Okay? It's simple. It's super simple. But it's not always easy for us here on this 3D plane using, with our baggage and our things, bring it along to make it, not to make it work on our behalf, but to allow it to work for our positive good. Once again, the law of attraction is always working behind the scene. And the easiest way to think of it, in my opinion, and let's apply it to this situation as with everything else, okay? What you focus on the longest grows the strongest. Let me repeat that. What you focus on the longest grows the strongest, right? So we know flow follows focus, but that can focus any which way. So if we let ourselves be gripped by fear and we go down that path, that negative side of the emotional scale that Abraham has shown us, or power versus force, if you guys are into the scientific community, if that focus will also bring like energy, okay? We can find ourselves seemingly trapped in an endless cycle of negativity. But it just takes one little thing with anything, one positive step here and there, small steps, to start changing the momentum and bringing it back around, right? So let's talk about overcoming fears in general. Once again, this is super important. We have to figure out how to eliminate fear in the long term, but in the short term, we need to figure out how to take our positive actions that we want to get our manifestations working despite being fearful, okay? So we have to put the fear in its proper context. So let's just talk about a little bit how we do that. So in general, we talk about being positive. Once again, law of attraction, what you focus on grows. So what you focus on the longest grows the strongest, because we know we're not going to 100% focus on positive things, right? We're going to slip up. We're going to react to something instead of having a response, right? But that's okay. Forgive yourself and remember to add some little positivity. So once you put awareness and you shine a light on that, and then you put some positive steps in there, put some energy towards the positive, okay? You don't have to be stuck in the negative, all right? I talk in another video, and I definitely suggest you check that out, but I have a whole concept with letting go or letting be, okay? Sometimes it's super hard to let go, okay? It may be something that we've been holding on to for 50 or 60 years, but there is a way to simply let something be and not have to go through the struggle that we make ourselves when we're letting go. Let me just give you a little example. I don't have something good here to show you, but look, if this is, say this right here, this notebook, right? Say this is your stress, your anxiety, your limiting belief, okay? To let go, you have to physically make yourself do something physical like this to make it go, right? That's letting go. Sometimes that is hard when this in your mind perceived is to why you're staying alive, right? Or why you for whatever reason you're holding on to it super tight. It's not always the easiest thing to do to let go immediately, okay? We want to get to that point, but I'm telling you, in the meantime, as a means to getting through life and making a positive step towards that, we can let it be. So the difference between this, where we're gripping so strong and we're trying to force ourselves to let go, just pull this up, what can we do? But here's what we can do. We can allow, okay, can you see that? We just allow, we release our grip, and instead of having to force ourselves to do something with that right now, we just let it be, and we let it just sit off to the side, and we don't put any more attention on it. None at all. None at all. Okay? And what that does is allow us energy and attention that we can put towards other things. Okay? So it's still here. Okay? It's still here, and we'll address it when we have time, when we have the energy. Okay? When it no longer triggers us. Okay? So that's the difference between letting go and letting it be. And I suggest if that helps you to use it. Okay? Also, affirmations. Affirmations. Super strong believer in affirmations. And the type of affirmation you want to do to overcome fear are ones of power and worthiness. Okay? Because when we boil down the fears, and we're going to talk about what human beings fear, but when we boil it down, a huge percentage of the time, it comes to either not being in control or a worthiness issue. So either you feel that you're not worthy for the goodness, or you're scared to let go of control because of fear of the unknown, what might happen, right? Affirmations are great for that. You guys definitely know what affirmations are. We have them all over this channel. They're all over the positive community. It is well known that one of the best ways to change any limiting beliefs is through the use of affirmations in conjunction with other things. Now, once again, I always teach you need to create some space, okay? So it does take some space, and then once that space is available, and through some of the techniques we were just talking about, so letting it be and you have extra energy, now you can use affirmations to begin reprogramming your subconscious mind. Okay? We call it auto-suggestion, affirmations. Like I said, there are plenty of videos all over YouTube, my channel, everyone's channel, about affirmations. Get some positive, empowering affirmations. Do some mirror work. Do visualizations with you as a powerful creator, because you are a powerful creator. The problem is you're giving your power away at this point. Okay? So do those things. And once you are able to take the smallest inspired action step that you feel comfortable doing, okay? Take a small one. It's okay. You do not have to go from 0 to 100 today, all right? But what would be amazing is if you could go from 0 to 1, and you could celebrate that, going from 0 to 1, and tomorrow you can go from 1 to 2, or maybe even 3, right? And then once you're at 3, 5 is just a hop, skip, and a jump, right? And you'll find these things will start gaining momentum, and it really will start coming by leaps and bounds, right? Overcoming your fears. So let's just recap a little bit. So overcoming our fears, because why? Why are we talking about fear? We talked about it in the beginning, because this is what's limiting our potential on this earth. Right? I believe, and if you're on this channel, I think a majority of you guys would believe that we are 5D spiritual creators living on a 3D planet. Okay? So what that means is we are powerful creators, and here on this earth, we are bound by certain physical laws. There are universal laws, but it helps us to focus and expand the universe, all right? Contrast is important down here because it helps us put out powerful desire towards creating new things, okay? It's how we manifest. The problem is if we let our limiting beliefs, our fears, our phobias, if we let them control us, we are unable to be the powerful creator we came here to be. So let's talk a little bit about the things that human beings are most afraid of. So I wrote down the top 10 things. And what I want you guys to do is, as I'm talking about it, try to think about what the core phobia actually is. we talked about before, a majority of the things that human beings are actually scared of is fear of the unknown, right? And do you remember the other one? Maybe you'll remember as we go through here. It really goes down to two. So it's a worthiness issue, right? Or a power issue. Two things. So the 10th most most fearful thing are demons, ghosts, evil power, those type of things. Okay? So what do you think that is? Mostly fear of the unknown, but some religions have that tied up as a worthiness issue also. You have to do this to get yourself clean and worthy to be free of this, right? Number 9 is spiders, snakes, cockroaches, rats. Okay? Freaky deaky things that go bump in the night that are actually on this planet, real life things. Okay? Once again, fear of the unknown, because what could they do? They might bite you, they might poison you, they could, I'm not sure what they could do. I don't have these fears. But a large majority of people do. And these are things we can address. The 8th is heights, fear of heights. Once again, fear of the unknown, because if you're scared of a height, you're scared of falling off. If you fall off, there's injury, there's pain, there's suffering, possibly death, right? Fear of needles is the next one. That's an interesting one. Once again, that's a fear of pain, which boils down to actually a fear of the unknown if you actually boil it down quick enough. Once again, pain is a fear of possible injury, suffering, death, and fear of death is always a fear of the unknown. It means someone has not come to grips with what happens after death, right? Darkness is the next biggest fear for human beings. After that is very closely related and actually pretty close in numbers. And this is enclosed or tight spaces. Okay? So you get an enclosed, dark, tight space. And then you get a large number of people who are fearful of that. All right. The next one is water. Believe it or not, life-giving water is a huge fear. Maybe it is a fear of yours. Also, along with that is bridges, and bridges is slightly above water, but they consider it in the same thing. But with bridges, you've got the fear of water and the fear of heights combined. So we've got the fear of falling. Once again, fear of possible drowning, which that boils down to, once again, the fear of the unknown, right? Because it's pain, it's suffering, possibly death, and then what happens after death, right? Now, this is super interesting because the top three fears of human beings on the planet, take special note to what these are, okay? The third most fearful thing of human beings is social rejection. Social rejection is the third most common fear. We all have it. In fact, 70% of Americans have some fear of social rejection, and it's holding us back. What somebody else thinks, we care more about what they think than how we feel. You know, if we come down to it, that's what it is. The other two are closely tied. Failure in general, whatever it might be. Once again, what is failure? You know, if we look at it, and I actually just saw at the time of this recording, I was just participating in a tapping session with one of my friends and colleagues, Colette Leosi, tapping girl, and she was just talking about this. She was talking about failure and reframing that, you know, and failure is really just steps to success. But isn't that interesting that it is the second biggest fear of human beings on the planet? Failure. right after social rejection, failure, and the number one, if you've seen, I have another video addressing this specifically on my channel. Number one fear of people on the planet is public speaking. Obviously tied to social rejection and failure right there, right? So isn't it super interesting how everything goes down to either a fear of the unknown or a worthiness issue? So the good thing is with that awareness, we can address it, right? So that's all it takes is once you have the awareness, you can shine some light on it. All right. We talked about the definition of fear and really what it is in a chemical type of definition. It's the fight or flight response of the body, and why that is, what triggers that. Sometimes once we look at it, from a 5D perspective, from outside of our own physical senses, it can be kind of silly, honestly. Does not feel silly at all while we're in it. And I totally agree and understand that. And in no means would I say that it does, because these things get me just like they get you, and just like they get all the people on the planet, So we're just here to help each other through these things. So these are some of the awarenesses I've come to. You guys know I do a lot of work in the community with these types of things. So I've gotten trainings, and I've been able to practice these for years, over 15 years in the mental health and behavioral health industries, helping kids and adults with autism and those type of things. So I have some skills, and I want to put out what I can to help you guys. So hopefully this is interesting to you. I'm going to wrap up real quick with what we call the AWARE technique, and it's a way that we can address fear, anxiety, stress, those type of things in a daily basis. Check out my channel. I've got other videos to help with this as well, or check all over YouTube. There's definitely things that can help you out there. So let's just talk about the AWARE technique, and this is, once again, ways that we address this in the moment. Some of it has to do with preparing and realizing, once we have the awareness that we are scared of these things, as we are getting to the point where we can let go, letting them be and not focusing on the negative aspects of that. Okay, so some of it, let's talk about the AWARE technique. So number one is the A of AWARE, okay, and we call that acceptance. And so we say accept the anxiety, the stress, the fear as a normal feeling, okay, that human beings get from time to time, okay? So basically what you don't want to do is get down on yourself for feeling the emotion, because what are we doing? Then we're increasing the negativity towards that, okay? Once again, what you focus on the longest grows the strongest. So we do not want to add any momentum to the negative side of that. We're going to accept that for what it is. Had a little fearful moment there. You know what I mean? Had a fearful moment. If we're aware enough that we can reverse engineer that and figure out what that underlying fear is, go ahead and do that. That'll help you get some additional awareness and help you stay in the moment and kind of see it for what it is. All right, number two is the W, and we say watch the anxiety. All right, so this takes a little bit of practice, because this really, what watch the anxiety is, we're going to notice that the stress, the fear, the anxiety is just an emotion, and it's not me, right? It's not you, We don't want to identify with it. It's just something that is going through our body at this moment. It's going to pass, right? It is not you. I don't attach to it. We're going to notice it. We're going to watch it. Okay? We're going to see it for what it is. And this is where some definitely the deep breathing techniques that I teach, and check out my channel if you guys need some techniques. I have a lot of different deep breathing things that I do teach, and they are super helpful to get through these things, especially in the moment. Okay, but once again, it's all about awareness. So we're going to accept it. We're going to watch it from that 5D perspective and realize that this is just an emotion. It's just a feeling that's going on. Okay, it's not me. I'm not going to identify with it. Like, I am not a scared person. It was a scared feeling that happened, right? Okay, and we're going to act normally with it. That's the A. Okay, we're going to try to stay in the here and now as much as possible. We've talked about different techniques as far as using your 5 senses to do that. Stay in the present moment. Once again, realize that's just an emotion. It's just something that's going on. It's going to pass, and you're not identifying with it. And then the R of aware is to repeat. You repeat those 3 steps until your conscious mind is back in control enough. Okay? So you're not going to eliminate the entire fear right there, but what you're going to do is keep shining light on it, keep going through that process, keep doing the deep breathing, keep taking a step back and looking and realizing that it's not you, that it's passing, it's going by. What you're doing is shining positive light on the upward swing of momentum, right? So we're encouraging that, we're celebrating that, we're giving energy to the positivity. And then the E is expect the best outcomes. Okay? Always expect success. Okay? So when we get to this, when you're in the moment, the expectation of success that you may be looking for right there is that that this is going to pass, right? That you're going to get through this. You're going to move on. When you get further down and you can see it for what it is, your expectation is you're going to overcome the entire fear. You're going to overcome it enough to make positive action, right? You're going to be able to get enough clarity to get that inspired action and make a move. A small step. Remember, the smallest step is still a step forward, okay? So that's what I would invite you to do. I hope that this video is helpful as far as overcoming your fears. I know it's a big one. Feel free to watch this video as many times as possible or as many times as needed. Go through the aware technique. Check out the other videos. I have some other videos on stress and anxiety that can help out with that as well.